What's up, YouTube? James Watt here with another Rocket League esports scene update video, and today we're going to be covering a few things. First, we'll be starting off covering the announcement of the RLCS Spring Series and also covering the North American Regional Championship that just went down this past weekend. So before I get into this too deeply, I just want to let you guys know about the new series that was just announced this past weekend by Psyonix. It is going to be a new competition that will be taking place in light of the coronavirus pandemic that has resulted in no World Championship. They announced this tournament series as a new tournament series that will take the place essentially of the World Championship to try to fill that void. Now, what is it that you might ask? It is actually a series of 4 tournaments that's supporting all of the major RLCS regions that we currently have. That includes North America, Europe, Oceania, and South America. The top 4 teams from each region will automatically qualify for their regional tournaments, and then the other 4 teams that will make up the 8 total teams will have to play through qualifiers to get those spots. As you can see from the dates right here, it's coming up in April and May, and those tournaments will be streamed on the official Rocket League channel, so don't miss out on that. They're going to be a lot of fun to watch, and every region will be getting some limelight on the official channel. The prize pool is also considerable, $125,000 per region for Europe and North America, and $50,000 for Oceania, and $50,000 for South America. So there's a lot of money on the line. Also, if you're interested in trying to qualify for these events, signups are available online right now. I'll make sure to post the link in the description if you and your friends want to sign up. Also, before we get into the RLCS updates, let's talk a little bit about the Rival Series in North America. I want to say congratulations to Omni Nation for qualifying for the RLCS next season. They finished #1 in the Rival Series League play, which means that they're automatically promoted. So congratulations to Percy, Jordan, and Magic Bear. They will be playing in the next season of the RLCS. So make sure to tune in and support them next season. And that means that the 4 teams in the promotion tournament will be Rogue, E-United, Stromboli, and Charlotte Phoenix. And that will not be taking place this weekend, but it will be taking place next weekend. So you want to tune into that to find out which of those which 2 of these 4 teams will be qualifying for Season 10 of the RLCS. But let's cover a little bit about the series from this weekend's regional championship for North America. The first series that we saw was a one-sided series. NRG was playing the Sonics, who were having a Cinderella story of a season. Obviously, this team blew past expectations in the preseason poll. All the pros had ranked the Sonics dead last in their preseason poll, ranking all the teams. And the Sonics ended up blowing past expectations and finishing in the top 4. However, things did not go exactly as planned for the Sonics. They got swept in their first series versus NRG, and it was incredibly one-sided. And I also want to highlight one particular play from Justin where he got a double bump, and Johnny and Shogun covered the action. Let's take a look.
NRG, I don't know if it's a good idea, because this is one team that are not really known for making mistakes and overcommitting all that often.
He will miss the ball. Another demo as well. That leaves only one player left. And unfortunately, he is going to get wiped off the goal line off this monster bump.
That is outrageous. I mean, I said that bumps and demos might be a good strategy.
Again, NRG ended up sweeping the Sonics. The Sonics only managed to score 3 goals in their best of 7 series, and they ended up having to go down into the lower bracket where they would play the winner of the Ghost and Cloud9 series. But let's move on and talk about that Cloud9 and Ghost series. This was the matchup between the 5th and 6th ranked teams. They started out in the lower bracket because they placed 5th and 6th in league play, and that means they had no lives left. They had to win this series to go on and play the Sonics to try to get into that semifinal versus Space Station Gaming. Coming into this series, many of the analysts were thinking that it was going to be a close series. Cloud9 was coming off a very hot streak. They had started off the season poorly, but were playing very well in the latter half of the season, whereas Ghost was struggling in a few series, and so nobody was really sure how this series would play out. Atomic played one of the best series that I've ever seen him play, and he hit one of the craziest goals that I've ever seen in my life. Let's take a look.
Doesn't matter. Torment's having to flip just to make a touch, and he loses the challenge anyway. Here's Atomic.
Oh,
Gets
Atomic!
Oh, get back to it! Atomic is insane!
Atomic! He destroys Squishy's mind. He gets the flip reset and the dunk. That was one of the most incredible goals that I have ever seen.
And that wasn't even the only impressive flip reset goal he had that series, but it was the most impressive goal. Atomic, he had scored 10 out of the 17 goals for Ghost, and his performance was up there with one of the best that we've ever seen in a regional championship game. Ghost ended up beating Cloud9 4-1 in this best of 7 series, and there were some issues with Cloud9. Gimmick didn't really find his form. He won the Golden Striker Award in league play this season, but he really didn't make that much of an impact on the offensive end. Gimmick only managed to score a single goal in this series out of the 8 goals that were put by. Squishy, he scored 5 of them, so he was playing as best as he could, but it was just not a great day for Cloud9. Torment was also struggling with internet issues yet again, the same internet issues that caused Fireburner to have to sub in for him in the regular season. It resulted in a few technical pauses in this series, so things were just not going well for Cloud9. However, Squishy was not too disappointed. He took to Twitter after the match and stated the following: "Regardless of how that series went, I'm happy with how our season ended. There's no Worlds this season, so the main goal was to just retain our spot, and we did that. Thank you for all the support through the ups and downs. Time to come back even stronger in Season 10. And I do not doubt that. Squishy Muffins, even though Cloud9 had a turbulent season, I thought that he played quite well all season long, but there will be questions on if Cloud9 is going to retain their roster that has been together for over 1,000 days. We're going to have to wait and see how the offseason plays out, and also see how this spring series plays out, and see if Cloud9 decides to make any roster changes before the next season of the RLCS. But let's talk about the Ghost Sonics matchup. The Sonics were coming off a disappointing 4-game sweep against NRG. They only managed to score 3 goals, and their woes continued against this hot Ghost team. The Sonics, they only managed to score 2 goals in this series against Ghost, and again were swept in 4 games. It was not a pretty sight, and the Sonics had a disappointing end to a season that was otherwise quite fantastic. They had great results in the regular season. They just couldn't bring those results to the North American Regional Championship. However, I'm sure they're incredibly happy with how everything went overall, and they will be back for the next season of the RLCS. And Shock did win the MVP for the regular season, so there was a lot to look to for the Sonics and a lot to be proud of from this season, but they were eliminated, and Ghost went on to play Space Station in the semifinal. But let's move on to our first semifinal match that took place this past weekend, NRG versus G2. I actually had predicted against Gibbs on this one on our podcast, which I will also be linking in the description if you want to download all of the previous shows and listen to it. Feel free to click that link and download the episodes. However, I failed to predict this correctly. I had picked NRG. Gibbs had picked G2, and it seemed like I was going to be right, especially after the first 2 games. NRG shut G2 out those first 2 games and managed to score 7, and it looked like they were going to be continuing their hot streak that they had against the Sonics as well against G2. However, that is not what happened. G2 in Game 3 came alive, and they ended up winning Games 3, 4, and 5, and critical Game 5 overtime win as well. And credit to Rizzo. Rizzo this weekend was playing the best that I've ever seen him play. Not only on offense, but also defense. This G2 team really had things coming together. And people were wondering, how did G2 manage to go from last place last season and have to fight their way out of the promotion tournament to winning the North American region? And it may have something to do with the fact that they got a team house this season and were all playing under the same roof, living together with Coach Jazzo, and playing out of the same house. You can't deny that the chemistry was there. G2 was playing better than ever before, and maybe that allowed them to get that little extra focus on all the details and also build that extra synergy on and off the field that put them over the top. Justin did his best offensively, scoring 10 out of 15 goals for NRG. Turbo had a quiet series against G2, and NRG got shut out in the decisive Game 7. So even though NRG won that Game 6 and forced Game 7, G2 shut them out in that final game 3-0 and secured their grand final spot. Now moving on to the other semifinal, which was Ghost versus Space Station. And coming into this series, you thought Ghost might have a chance. They breezed past Cloud9 and they destroyed the Sonics. So you thought that this was going to be a close one. And it was at the start. We saw games 1 and 2 go to overtime, but both of those games, Space Station ended up winning, and that really allowed them to get off to the hot start that they needed to eventually close out the series. Even though the series was 4-1, all of the games except for the final Game 5 were decided by just a single goal. And it seemed like Space Station had a real chance here to finally get a title, which previously had only been claimed by one of the big three teams. So let's talk about the finals. Space Station versus G2. One of the old big three teams going up against the new kids on the block, Space Station, who finished #1 in league play. And G2, it seemed like they might have their hands full. However, this was such a one-sided grand final, and we've seen these grand finals in the North American region be one-sided before, and this was another one-sided final. G2 ended up sweeping Space Station, who was struggling to get anything going. It looked like a completely different team that had played Ghost in the previous series. And Rizzo and G2 continued to play the best Rocket League that I have ever seen them play, except perhaps when they made it to the grand finals in Season 7. In this series, Space Station only managed to score 2 goals. It was domination by G2. Rizzo ended up leading the scoring with 4 out of the 9 goals for G2, on top of making defensive plays and aggressive bumps and demos throughout the entire day. And so it comes as no surprise that Rizzo claims regional championship MVP. And you know, Turtle did have a too soon prediction, which did predict that Rizzo would get MVP. It wasn't league play MVP, but I still think that counts for some. So Turtle, congrats on that one. And with that, the North American titles stay within the realm of the big three. G2 get their second title ever. And of note, this is Chicago's first major victory. Getting this title means a lot for him. And also it means a lot for a G2 team that was coming off a previous season where they finished last. So incredible performances from everyone on G2, particularly Rizzo, who was playing the best that he's ever played. And they will be taking home that North American Championship title. Hopefully you guys liked this update video. I plan to do another one for Europe, which will hopefully be either releasing tomorrow or the day after, but I'm going to continue to work hard to try to get these videos out here on a regular basis so that if you don't have time to watch all of the RLCS broadcasts, you'll at least have an idea of what's going on. Anyway, thank you again for watching. I'll hope to see you on the next videos. And again, if you have any suggestions on how I can improve these videos, please drop a comment down below and I'll do my best to accommodate. Thank you, and see you next time.